everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. Battle report number 87 is a 5,000 point battle. Tis I, Lord Tremendous, the Ogre Khans, versus Sex Panther of the Demon Legions. Yep, he's going back to his roots. He's got a new demon army. It's a big change to what he's used to, well, what I'm used to seeing in the field. And we haven't played in a little while, so I'm looking forward to doing this. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. Here's my list, and there has been a slight change, nothing huge. I still have my Mammoth Hunter Shyhammer as my general. He's got the Ogre Crossbow. He now has the Sword of Strength, Obsidian Rock, Charm of Cursed Iron, Rock, and he's on his Rock Warhammer. I got rid of the Flaming Lance and the Lucky Shield because the shield wasn't giving me +1 armor. I always forgot about it, so people were shooting at me or hitting me with stuff, and it wasn't until the bottom of 6 when he was already dead that I realized I should have shunted one hit away. But so it was a huge waste, and going from strength 7 to strength 5 was bothering me, so the Sword of Strength just makes more sense. And, you know, he works out, so it makes sense that he's strength 6. I, of course, still have my Mammoth Hunter Khan. He's still my BSB. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, and the big name Troll Eater. He's perfect. I have my Shaman Skaz, who's got 4 learned spells, the Dragonfire Gem, and he uses the Path of Thaumaturgy. Last but not least, I have my original Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, the Obsidian Blade, the Armor of Fortune, the Headhunter Big Name, and he's on his trusty Tusker, the War Teddy. Oh yeah. For my core choices, I have the exact same. Everything else in the list is pretty much the exact same. I got 10 Tribesmen, the good old boys with Banner Musician, Iron Fist, and Banner of Discipline. And I've still got both units of 15 Scraplings, the Randos, and the Scrap Pack. Both have musicians and bows. They're just cool little units. Starting off my special choices, I have my Saber-Tooth Tiger, Bow Wowzer. I have my unit of 6 Scrapling Trappers, the Favored Pets. Here's my unit of 3 Tusker Cav, the Fat and the Furious, with Banner, Great Weapons, and War Standard. And I have a unit of 5 Yeti with a champion. And I have not named these guys yet either. And I need to because they're flippin' amazing. So if you have any ideas, let me know. Starting off, well, my only powder keg category choice is my Scratapult. And as you can see from this pretty good picture, my wife knocked it out of the park when she painted this bad boy. I mean, wow. So the model alone is worth keeping in the army. And then starting off the Chain Beast category, I have my slave giant, He Who Knocks. Sorry, I was watching TV and Breaking Bad thing came on, and I just like He Who Knocks. So that's what he's going to be called. He's my model. I get to do that. And as you can see, the wife has been painting him as well, and he looks amazing. He's done, but this picture was taken just before she finished it. It really came out badass, and he's showing it. Wait till you see what he does in this game. And then I have the ultimate monster, my Frost Mammoth, Rufus! He's got a couple of Ogre Crossbows on the guys he carries around on his back, but he's the star of the show. That's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. Feel free to pause it whenever you like to see what he took. Here are my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And here are my opponent's spells, which are also exactly what you're looking at. Here's deployment, and my opponent just deployed everything first. He wanted to go first, and I understand. So he threw all the stuff down, and I just deployed to meet him. For the most part, my strategy was to send the good old boys, the Fat and the Furious, and Rufus into his Tallyman, because they scare the hell out of me, to be perfectly honest. I had my Yetis and Lord Tremendous on the left flank there, ready to deal with the Pestilent Beasts over there. I had the, the Trappers in the middle there in the field, just to to trap the field and cause a little bit of a speed bump, maybe get us some flank chargers or whatnot. Just trying to have some fun with it, and it was really just the best place for him. I could have, I guess, put him behind that hut on the right side and gone after his cannon, but what are Rotten Apples really going to do? They're a better speed bump than anything else. Dead in the middle there, I've got my Scratapult. He was going to fire at the Tallyman, try to lower those model counts the best I could before I had to see him in combat. Not the easiest unit in the world to kill. I have the Scraplings and Bow Wowser behind the hill in order to redirect and chaff up his Crushers. I had no desire to fight those guys on his terms whatsoever. So my hope was feed him Scraplings. My general's right next to him to give him leadership 9, so they should pass their panic checks. But yeah, feed them a unit of Scraplings, then another unit of Scraplings, and then Bow Wowser. And by then, it should be at least turn 4 or 5, and they're not going to really do anything. That was the hope.
There's a tower right there.
Just the hammers and the giant were going to slam into the cannon and the hellhounds and then work their way down the flank. And whatever's left was going to try to deal with his courtesan of lust, because I really don't have any plans for the greater demons. And that's it for deployment. Like I said, my opponent got to go first, so here's top of 1 after movement. And he came forward. Not super fast, but not exactly reckless either. This stuff comes forward pretty conservatively. Just, I think, regular movement. The only thing that really kind of threw me off here was his Crushers. I mean, they can't see anything, really. The hill's in the way, and the hill goes all the way to the ceiling. So that really was walking into my hands, so I was gonna let him do it. Who am I to disagree? Other than that, nothing really interesting happens in the movement phase. I think he has a 3-die magic phase, and nothing really happens. I think he gives one of his units +2 weapon skill, +2 initiative, and I didn't care. But in shooting, his cannon takes aim at the Hammer Brothers and puts 2 wounds through on him. Hits, wounds, gets right past the Charm of Cursed Iron, and blows a third of their life force all over the back of the field. Hell of a shot. Usually that thing doesn't do that well, so Sex Panther must have had it at the shooting range. Nothing else happens in his turn, so here's bottom of 1 after movement, and I come forward, again, kind of conservative. My plan starts to go into effect. As you can see, 1 unit of Scraplings moves up towards the hill because I want him to get on the hill with his Crushers. I want to be able to redirect him how I see fit towards the middle. See the way the Hammer Brothers and the Giant kind of move over to the right on the hill. Bow Wowser comes up. The other unit of Scraplings, the Scrap Pack, they move over to the right a little bit to shoot at the dogs. Why not? Might as well get some shots off at them. But the plan is Shyhammer's going to hit the dogs and go over towards the cannon. The Giant's going to follow suit, and I think I've got the right flank pretty much locked down. I'm excited about it. Rufus, the Fat and the Furious, and the Scratapult stay right where they are because I don't want those Crushers to be able to see them, let alone charge them. And his infantry isn't close enough for me to really get to anyway, so I'm not concerned. I move Lord Tremendous up, and I move the Yetis up just a little bit so that I can get a better charge off on the Pestilent Beasts. And then I move the Trappers over to the right to throw at the Tallyman because I want the Tallyman to charge me. If the Pestilent Beasts charge him as well, that's going to be beautiful. Everyone's going into him, but for the moment, I just got to see what he's going to do. But that's really it for my movement. During the magic phase, mostly out of just the lack of really things to do, I get Wrath of God off and I put it right in the middle there. Again, just trying to control the movement phase. Don't care so much about the damage it puts out, if any. It's controlling the movement phase. I love that spell. And then my Scratapult in the shooting phase takes a pot shot at the Tallyman, and I hit. I wound, and I'm able to do about 3 or 4 wounds to him after all is said and done. Not terrible, all things considered. Usually I don't hit anything with this guy, so I'm very pleased with him. With that all said and done, there's no combat, so here's top of 2 after movement, and things are going according to plan, mostly. His Crushers come up on the hill, which is perfect, but they came up really far on the hill. I expected him to just touch the hill. He did not. He also did not screen with his dogs like I thought he was going to do to give the Hammer Brothers an easy charge on him. the Ham brothers can get into the flank of the Crushers here. The Scratapult, Rufus, even the Fast and the Furious, or the Fat and the Furious can slam into the Crushers. That's a lot of impact hits, and I can't afford to miss out on that. So I'm thinking change up my plan a little bit and charge them. Meanwhile, in the middle there, the Tallymen go after the Trappers, which is great. They stand and shoot. I think maybe they're able to kill another one, which is hilarious. And then they get slammed into combat. I think maybe one more gets killed because of the trapped field due to dangerous terrain, which is also awesome. The only thing that happens during his movement phase that wasn't part of the plan is the Pestilent Beasts take a long charge on the Lord Tremendous. I'm like, perfect, he's going to fail, and he rolls boxcars. And they make it. Oh well. Poor Lord Tremendous is going to eat eat all the death. But, provided my Yetis don't break and flee after Tremendous dies, I should be able to do something about the Pestilent Bees later. We'll see. Other than that, though, his Demonettes, his Sirens, they pretty much stay right where they are. His cannon just rotates to fire at Shyhammer, and the Courtesan of Lust just moves up a little bit. He's being real conservative with his Courtesan, and that throws me off. But, hey, he's not in my face, so it gives me more time, right? That's it for movement. Oh, I'm sorry. His Hellhounds did try to charge the Scrap Pack and failed. They stood and shot and were able to slip a wound through on him. My mistake. There's a better picture of the Tallyman slamming into the the favorite pets, and that was all according to plan. And there's a better picture of his Pestilent Beast slamming into Lord Tremendous, and that was not according to plan at all. Nothing happens in his magic phase, but at the end of the magic phase, the Wrath of Gods comes down, and I roll Snake Eyes for the distance, which means it went out 3 inches, which means it still hit absolutely nothing. I know I don't use it for the damage. I use it to control the movement phase, and it has more or less controlled the movement phase, which is excellent, but I do like that it does a little bit of damage. So rolling Snake Eyes and only going out 3 inches and hitting nothing kind of felt like a little bit of a waste and hurt my pride. Made me laugh, though. In his shooting phase, his cannon fires at the Hammer Brothers again, puts another wound through on him, hits wounds, and I fail my 5-up. Whittling him down, the cannon's a lot more accurate this game than I'm used to it being, so I gotta do something about that soon. We go into combat, and yeah, the Trappers get annihilated. I think maybe they got to attack, I'm not 100% on that. Didn't matter, they didn't do any damage, they just got mulched. And, again, part of the plan, but I like the favorite pets, and I hate it when they die. For the greater good, right? Over here, in a huge shock, I only take 1 wound. In return, I divvy out 2 wounds to the beasts. I end up stalemating this. He has charge and a wound. I did 2 wounds. It's a stalemate, and my Yetis can see their flank. I got lucky as hell here. I thought Tremendous was dead. So, yeah, thank you, Dice Gods. This is outstanding. With that over, here's bottom of 2 after movement, and there's a little bit. As you can see, I charge, and I charge a lot. The Hammer Brothers, the Scratapult, and Rufus slam into the Crushers because it was too good of a charge to pass up. He Who Knocks, my Slave Giant, slams into the flank of the Hellhounds because it was too good of a charge to pass up. The Fat and the Furious and the Good Old Boys charge the Tallyman, and only the Good Old Boys make it. The Fat and the Furious are not feeling cardio today and did not make their charge. And then the Yetis with Khan slam into the flank of the Pestilent Beasts. So, yeah, it's doing pretty good. The Good Old Boys did lose an Ogre for dangerous terrains thanks to the Trappers in the field. It is what it is. And Skaz moves up just a little bit, and then the Scraplings scatter. One goes to the left, one goes to the right, just to get more targets. And Bow Wowser moves up and around to try to go after the cannon, if only to stop it for shooting for a turn. That's it for movement. There's a better picture of the Hammers, the Scratapult, and Rufus slamming into his Crushers. And if that's not enough to take them out, I don't know what is. Just in case, I have the Giant in the flank of the Dogs. With a little luck, the Giant will be able to smoke the Dogs and overrun into the Crushers, helping them kill them all. It's a lot of impact hits coming into those Crushers. The Dogs being hit in the flank by the Giant is not a good look for them. This is exciting. There's a better picture of the Good Old Boys making the charge and a Fat and a Furious not, as well as one of the Good Old Boys dying to bear traps set by my own damn team. And there's a better picture of the Yetis jumping into this fight with Lord Tremendous and the Pestilent Beasts, hopefully to save Tremendous's life. During the magic phase, I get Cleansing Fire off on Khan, which is awesome because it'll help guarantee I kill off some of the Pestilent Beasts. They do have like a 50-50 chance to stop everything I throw at them. And then on a fluke, I cast Trial by Faith off on the Courtesan of Lust, just trying to pull some Dispel dice. I was just having fun. And my opponent lets it go off. I end up rolling like a 5. He rolls a 1. He takes 4 wounds, no armor save, and 2 get through. Couldn't believe it. That's the first time Trial by Faith has really done anything. I was very excited. I like the spell, it's just never really done anything before. Nothing happens in shooting, so we go into combat, and I'm able to kill 2 of the Hellhounds. I do 4 wounds. They do nothing in return, so I have charge, flank, super flank, and 4 wounds to nothing. He loses by a significant amount. The Hellhounds pop. I overrun with the Giant, but I miss the Crushers by an inch. Story of my life. We go into combat over here, and my opponent's BSB issues a challenge to the Hammer. Well, issues a challenge. The Hammers have to accept it. They're the only ones that can. And we beat him to death. I'm able to do, I think, 4 wounds total to him. 4 wounds get through anyway, because it's a challenge. In the meantime, the Scratapult and Rufus are able to kill off 2 of the Crushers by themselves. The Scratapult takes 3 wounds, does not die. Rufus takes none, and the Hammers take no wounds for their trouble. We beat these guys by about 6. He rolls his instability check, and he rolls out of the box, and the entire unit is smoked. The Hammers have to overrun, and they stop an inch away from the Scratapult. Rufus and the Scratapult turn to look at the Sirens and the Courtesan, and that couldn't have gone any better if I had scripted it. I was very pleased with my army. Over here, things go pretty well, too. I end up killing 7 of his guys. He ends up doing 7 wounds to mine. But I have a charge, a banner, and a rank to his rank and a banner. I think I win by 1, maybe 2. But it doesn't really matter because he makes his instability check no problem, and we move on to the next fight. Over here, the Yetis unleash a fury unlike anything I've ever seen. Khan does a couple of impact hits. He makes all of his regen saves against it. But the Khan attacks, they make the regen saves against that. I think maybe 1 got through because of lethal strike and he didn't make his ward. But the Yetis open up on these guys and kill like 3 of them on their own. Lord Tremendous is able to finish one off, and in the end, I think a Yeti took a wound, and that was it. I think I won this combat by like 8. My opponent rolls his break check. Doesn't roll terrible, but unfortunately he lost by so much it didn't matter, and the final beast dies. The Yetis and Lord Tremendous turn to face like this. Lord Tremendous did take a wound in that fight. However, he was able to himself kill one of the pestilent beasts, and because of Headhunter was able to heal a wound. So he's only got 1 wound on him, which is awesome. So we go over to the top of 3, and my opponent has not given up. His Courtesan of Lust charges my, what's it called? Scratapult. Scratapult flees. I'm not letting him that close to me. Not happening. So he tries to redirect with Rufus, and he does. And I'm like, I stand and shoot. I miss. I'm thinking Rufus could probably hold his own against the Courtesan of Lust. Maybe not do any damage, but hopefully not get killed. And then the Hammers can countercharge, the Fat and the Furies can countercharge, and life will be good. But then he charges Rufus with the Sirens as well, and I'm like, nope, I flee. So Rufus flees and the Scratapult flees. The Sirens go after Rufus. The Courtesan goes after Rufus. Both of them fail. He rolls very low for both of them, and that's exactly where he ends up. Other than that, everything else he has is dead or in combat, so that's the end of the movement. Oh, I'm sorry. The cannon does charge the Giant in the flank. There's nothing I can do about that. The Giant's immune to psychology, and he makes it. So Giant's probably dead, but maybe I can do some wounds to him before he goes out. And there's a better picture of Rufus and my Scratapult running away from the Courtesan. I'm not too concerned about rallying them. They both have Leadership 9 thanks to the General, so hopefully next turn I can rally both of them, and they can get back into this fight. I just wasn't ready to take those charges. During the magic phase, his Courtesan of Lust takes careful aim at Skaz, gets a spell off that does like D6 auto wounds with no ward or regen, and I tried to stop it, missed it by 1, and Skaz takes 5 wounds and dies a dog's death. Here lies Skaz, the guy who couldn't wait to face punch a greater demon and ended up just being a sheath for his wrath. Oh well, what can you do? We go into combat, and my Giant takes 4 wounds. Didn't die, just got lucky as hell. takes 4 wounds, and then I do, I think, smash back to him, where I do a wound to him with no armor save. He failed his ward, takes the wound, and then the guys on top, they attacked, so they can't attack next turn, and the thing that pulls the chariot can't attack this turn, so I lose this combat. He's stubborn, the general's right there, and he makes his break check. Then over here, this fight is brutal. The good old boys lose 2 more of their number. I think I take 4 wounds, but in return, I think I kill another 7. My opponent loses this combat. He is steadfast because I'm disrupted, and he makes his check for the most part, but he lose like 1 or 2 more models because of the instability. But we're still in this fight, so let's see what happens. It's been a hell of a fight. So here's bottom of 3 after movement, and I send in the hammers into the sirens. I figure it's not going to get any better than that. I do try to send the Fat and the Furious in to help them out, but they fail yet another charge, because that's kind of their thing this game. Lord Tremendous and the Yetis with Khan move up to, just in case the good old boys get trounced by the Tallyman, or in case his Courtesan of Lust wants to present a target. The Giant, I'm sorry, I forgot to take a picture of that. After combat, I did make my check to turn and face, so that's why he's looking like that. The Scratapult and Rufus rally, the Scraplings turn to face, and Bow Wowzer just kind of backs off a little bit to see what the next target is going to be for him, because really, he's just going to watch this game, because, you know what, he deserves a break. That's really... There's a better picture of the hammer slamming into the sirens, and the Fat and the Furious, well, towing the anchor. I have no magic, and I have no targets for shooting, so we go into combat immediately, and this goes okay. I think I killed 2 or 3 of his guys. I don't think I take any wounds in return, maybe 1. I only win this combat by 1 or 2, but then my opponent decides to roll this, because apparently he thought things were going too well for me, or not going too well for me, and he needed to help me out. Yeah, thank you, dice gods. And the unit vaporizes, and that's the way everything looks after he picks up his unit. Over here in this combat, He Who Knocks, the guys on top can't attack this turn because they attacked last turn, and I use Smash, so they had already attacked, so they can't attack that or this turn. So the Giant goes, I get Smash again, do 1 wound to him, making it so that the bottom guy can't attack this turn again. I win this combat by 1. But he makes his break check, and we sit right here. But Jesus, is he doing well. I fully expected him to die when he got charged in the flank, and the fact that not only is he holding his own, but he's surviving is blowing my mind. And then we go over here, and the hammers are able to kill 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the sirens. They do a wound or 2 back, not enough to kill me, but damn close. They are steadfast, make their check, and we sit right here. With that over, here's top of 4 after movement, and the Courtesan of Lust goes into the good old boys, which pretty much spells the end for them, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of his Courtesan of Lust slamming into the good old boys, and yeah, they're a little outclassed here. Nothing happens in Magic, there's no shooting, we go into combat, and my opponent flubs. He does 3 wounds to my unit, which is not terrible. I, in turn, do a wound back to him. I lose by 2, but I'm able to make my break check, mainly because my general's within 18 inches, and we stick it out. Afterwards, I pass my check to reform, and reform like this, just to try to get some more attacks in, if my opponent flubs again. Who knows? The dice gods have been crazy this game. In combat over here, the Hammer Brothers are able to kill 5 more of the demons. They aren't able to do anything back. I win this combat, and I believe he makes his break check. Over here, though, this giant is amazing. So the guys on top of the cannon get to attack this turn. They do, and they flub. They completely miss. I get to attack before the thing in the bottom. I hit Smash again. The thing in the bottom doesn't get to hit. Doesn't get to attack yet again. I get the wound through, so that's the 3rd wound, and then my opponent rolls a 9 for his instability check.
You in my house, motherfucker!
And that's why I call him He Who Knocks. Here's bottom of 4 after movement, and I send in the Fat and the Furious. They finally make a charge, and it's in the Courtesan of Lust, so yeah, that's going to be bad for him. Hopefully. Let's see how many impact hits I actually get. Needless to say, everything else just kind of moves up to surround and conquer, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of the Fat and Furious finally making a charge, and this is a pretty critical one. We go straight into combat because why not? There's really nothing else to do, and the Hammer Brothers are able to kill all but one of the damn sirens. I do take another wound for my trouble, though, so there's one wound left in each of these units. So, yeah, he takes his instability test and makes it, but, yeah, it's coming down to the wire here. Will the Hammer Brothers survive? Let's find out. Over here, it gets ugly. I do 2 wounds, or I'm sorry, I get 2 wounds through with impact hits, but it's not enough to kill him. He puts all of his attacks into the good old boys, killing 1, almost 2, and then my Tuskers and Riders, the Tusker Cav guys, are able to just unload all their attacks in this one. I get enough through to kill him, and I drop the Courtesan of Lust. Oh man, that was close, but it felt good to watch the fucker die. And here's the way we reform once we're done with that combat. Here's top of 5 after movement, and there isn't any. We're already in combat, so let's get to it. Obviously, we go directly into combat. He attacks first, and he's not able to wound. He hits, but he does not wound. I counterattack. I flub, but the stomps are enough to squish the final siren and table my opponent. It was close, though. It was really close. He had every opportunity, or every possibility of killing the Hammer Brothers before they could kill him, which would have been hilarious. And there it is. There's the end of the game. As you can see, it is an ogre victory. And a hard-fought one, too. Some mistakes were made, some were just dice rolling, and in the end, the ogres remain supreme. The way the gods intended it. You know, we're going to get to recap in a second, though, because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, like I said, this is definitely a victory for Lord Tremendous. I was able to table my opponent in the top of turn 5. You know, like I said, dice gods and some lucky throws there were really responsible for it. I ended up losing half points for Shyhammer and Warhammer. Skaz got killed, and my Trappers got killed. Other than that, I was pretty much unmolested, and I'm very proud of my army because of it. I am very, very happy with this list. It has become very powerful. The Sword of Strength instead of the Flaming Lance on Shyhammer made a huge difference, and I'm pleased with the changes. I think I'm going to keep it the way it is for a little bit. My Giant, he who knocks, has come into his own. I think maybe it's because of my wife's paint job, but holy crap, against the cannon, the dogs, and everything, the only thing he failed to do was overrun into the Crushers, and he really wasn't needed. He did amazing. I'm very pleased. The whole army is doing really well, and I think I found my staple, so I don't plan on changing my list anytime soon. Dice rolls really did contribute to a lot of my good fortune. His Tallyman vaporizing because he decides to roll a 12 after losing by only 1 or 2. The whole combat with the Giant versus the Cannon. A lot of things really just kind of went my way. So I can't exactly say it was all the list. Thank you, Dice Gods. I do appreciate your generosity. That's Snake Eyes for the Wrath of God, though. I mean, you know, they giveth, they taketh away. But really, I gotta remind myself, I use Wrath for the movement control, not so much the damage. Definitely a crazy, but really, really fun game. Of course, Sex Panther is still one of my favorite opponents. I love playing against this guy. He's a lot of fun, a lot of determination, and he never gives up. His attitude always stays positive. I like playing against this guy. He's one of my favorite opponents. This was still a really, really good game, even though the Dice Gods might be cited for interference. But I'm definitely looking forward to our rematch. I love to see what he comes up with. I love his lists. And yeah, I know the next time I play against him, it's going to be that much harder. Can't frickin' wait. Real quick, this is where I get to say thank you to everybody that supports me financially through Patreon, PayPal, and other means. I have many generous donors, but these are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly, because others want to stay anonymous, and I'll respect that, because they pay me. I have to respect it. Anyway, Alex of the Vale Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson and Caillou Choi. Thank you all very, very much. I do appreciate it, and I hope I continue to be worthy of your generous patronage. But there you have it. Battle Report number 87 is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.